everybody. My name is Nicola. I'm the Director of Economic and Demographic Research. I'm also a professor at the College of New Jersey, where I teach business statistics and AI, and I do business statistics every day, so I'm delighted to be here. And I'm delighted because I used to work for Michelle many, many years ago, and it's a pleasure to be here with Michelle again. It's so good to be here with all of you today. I am waiting for my presentation to come up. Thank you. Okay, there we go. So I will talk to you about demographic trends and shifts and what's been happening in New Jersey. And hopefully by the end of this, help you see where we're going in terms of demographics. To start out with, a little bit, we have a robust agenda for you today. I'll tell you about who we are and why I'm here with you and talking to you. I'll also do a quick survey together to kind of see what you know about New Jersey in terms of population, and then we'll talk about population and employment share by age cohort. I'll give you takeaways, and if we have time, I'll welcome you to join our list. Okay, so a little bit about us. We're part of the Department of Labor in New Jersey. What we do is we collect data on employers, employees, and population demographics, and then we go around the country and do these type of presentations. The idea is we want to show you how you can look at data and make decisions, and today is an example of this. The way I like to describe us is think of us as the barista of data. You go to a coffee shop to customize your drink. You could come to us, and we customize your data based on a project you're working on. Okay, now we're going to do a fun activity, I hope. We're going to do a survey asking you how well you know New Jersey. If you could please take out your phone and go to the QR code. If you open your camera, you can go to the QR code. And we have 4 questions. I will cover 3 of them. The 4th one asks you if you want to join our mailing list. We send 1 or 2 emails every month about the industry, the economy. I promise we don't bombard people with emails. We understand you're all busy, so we try to be conscious of that. Just waiting on the survey to come up, and we can talk about it. Technical difficulties are always welcomed. Charlie, are we going to get the survey on? I don't see it on my screen. That's the only thing. Is there a Wi-Fi password? Yes, there is. So I'll go through the 3 questions while we wait for Charlie to get us a survey on the screen. But the first one asks you, how much did we grow since 1960? The second one asks you, which one is higher, birth rates or death rates? And the last one is, which generation has the highest educational attainment? This was a surprise for me because I came in with a lot of biases, and by the end of this presentation, I changed my mind on a lot of things. We can see we have over 100 individuals who participated. Thank you for participating. And it seems like the majority is picking 3.5 million and 6.1 million, and I'll give you the answer shortly when I go back to my presentation. That's great. Thank you so much for participating. Can we go to the second question? I lost the survey again. Charlie, what's going on? AI. Where is AI? I thought we're in the age of AI. I thought I'm going to have an early retirement next year. What's happening? And the second question, thank you, Charlie. I'm joking, of course. Thank you. Which is higher in New Jersey, the birth rate or the death rate? The death rate you picked. That's exciting. Okay. I'm not going to comment further. That's okay. Next question, please. Okay, which generation in New Jersey has the highest educational attainment? And you said millennials, followed by Gen X and baby boomers. And again, I'll show you because I was biased as a millennial, and on Sunday I'm going to become 42. So I was like, we have to beat everybody. So I'll see if we do beat you. Thank you everybody again for participating. We appreciate it. If we can go back to the presentation, let me show you what the data is showing. So I'll talk about the data until we get the PowerPoint. But we have increased from 1960 to 2025 from 6.1 million to 9.5 million. So all the people who answered correctly, 3.5 million. Yeah. Michelle promised whomever got this correctly will get $1 million each. Yeah. You get it. Thank you. So we know that we have increased during that period. We have increased by 0.7%, but in the last couple of decades, we increased by 0.5%. And you can see we have a chart for you here. The y-axis will always have the metric, in this case, population in 1,000. The x-axis will have the years. We'll see more charts, and you can see here from 1960 to 2025, as I've mentioned, we increased by 3.5%. The next chart shows you trends in birth and death, and birth is higher than death. Yeah, another $1 million winners. And what you could see is that the birth rate has been declining. So the gap between birth rate and death rate has been declining. And we highlight the birth rate in blue and the death rate in red for you today. And we covered the period 2000 to 2025. What you could see here is we're having less kids. Fewer of us are getting married. And as a result, you see we're also having less kids. So a lot of my friends, including myself, we don't have kids. And if we do, the family size is much smaller than previous generations. So you see, yeah, they cost a lot of money. So, and I want to go on vacations, to be honest. My mom is not happy, let me say that. Another table, we have two for you on this slide. Table 1 shows you age cohort population levels, and we compare 2010 to 2024. And then the second table shows you the same structure, but the shares. So the first column, you have the age cohorts. The second column shows you 2010 data, and then 2024, and then the difference. A few notable trends. Look at the red, we kind of circled them for you today. For ages 35 and 54 and 19 and under, we have lost. And we're decreasing, and this is going back. We're having less kids, we're aging. And then when we look at 20 to 34, we have increased, kind of offset that loss. However, kind of going back to what Callie said, the older, 55 and older, have increased significantly compared to other cohorts. What does that mean in terms of share, which is the age cohort population table number 2, where we look at the share. For younger folks, we either increased slightly or decreased. And you see that for 54 and younger. On the other hand, the share of older individuals, 55 and over, have increased between 2010 to 2024. So it gets us to the next point, which, what does it mean in terms of workforce employment? And what you could see here on this figure is the employment share by age cohort for New Jersey, total non-farm, from 1997 to 2024. And going to what Callie mentioned is we have older individuals, more older individuals taking the share of employment. To give an example, the share of 65 and plus have increased during this period from 3.5% to 9.2%. And if you look at 55 and over, that rate increased from 14% to 28%. So it doubled. This is not a bad thing. we're living longer, we're healthier, so we can work more. So we have a lot of institutional knowledge. I always tell people, if we get somebody 60-year-old, hire them. They know more than us. We can learn from them, right? It's an asset that we cannot find in a 20, 25, 30, and 40. But we can find it in 60 and 70. And we're healthier and we live longer. So it's not that bad. On the other hand, for younger individuals, the share have declined. To give you an example, for 25 to 34, the share has declined from 26 to 21.5%. So now we have a lot of institutional knowledge. We can keep them in the workforce, but then we need the pipeline. We need to transfer that knowledge to the younger generation so we can keep a competitive edge compared to other states. And we are strong in terms of our economy because we have a diverse economy. Think of Hawaii, they may be relying on a few industries like tourism. That's not the case in New Jersey. We're very diverse and very strong. Another thing I wanted to highlight today, and I spoke to Bonnie, who works for a chemical manufacturing, which this is good for the manufacturing industry, the share of older cohorts, age cohorts, has increased from 17% to 34%, where the younger cohort, as you can see in the figure, is much smaller. So that is a concern because we need to fill that pipeline. Good institutional knowledge, pipeline needs to be filled. And we did one more for you, the financial activities in New Jersey. We see a similar thing, kind of a funnel, where we have more older individuals than younger individuals. So what are the takeaways? I'll mention one, and then I'll answer the educational attainment and see which generation won that contest. So one thing I want to say, we're aging. And to give you a statistic that I found very interesting is the ratio of 65 population to 25, 64 population in 2010 was 1:4, one senior to every 4 between the ages of 25 to 64. Then in 2024, that ratio went to 1:3, 1:3. So we're certainly getting older. So institutional knowledge, we need to build our pipeline. The other thing, the educational attainment by generation, millennials have won, and we have the highest educational attainment. The reason I looked at this was because I read an article that said we're not keeping up in terms of educational attainment, and I got worried, let me look at this. Because indeed, New Jersey is we're an advanced economy. We have professional services, pharmaceutical, manufacturing. So we need to have high educational attainment. So we looked at this statistic to see if from generation to generation, as we move up in generations, are we getting better? And yes, indeed, we are. And this signals to us that the next generation needs to have various ways from enrollment to employment. It doesn't have to be traditional way, but in order for us to move forward, we need some type of educational attainment to help us continue to maintain our competitive edge. With that being said, this is my last point. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I want to encourage you to join our list where we will send you an email or two every month about the economy, about the industry, and we do that every day. We publish around 60 to 70 publications about the state and the counties and local economies. So if you're interested, please join us. And I am very delighted to be here with you today and turn it to Althea. Thank you.